All right, everybody, it's episode 39 of This Week in Grip. It's Alan and Riccardo again. Jed has some commitments, so he won't be able to make it this time around, but hopefully he'll be back for episode 40. Before we get started, so Riccardo, how's everything been going with you these days?
Oh, super. As you know, and I think we're going to talk about it in a minute, I just competed last weekend at the 2018 LA Fit Expo ViseGrip Viking contest, and that was an exciting weekend of strength action for sure. And I've recently begun training for my next contest, because why sit around and wait? Because just looking at the weights doesn't get you stronger. So in fact, I had a very nice session this morning. Just no need to wait. So yeah,
right.
I'm doing great.
Good. Yeah, I tell you, it's been so busy around here lately with this cold snap that I'm a little behind on my social media, so I haven't been able to see what a lot of people have been working on. So the last I saw with you, it was you were breaking out the blockbuster pinch, and that was motivational for me. So yeah.
Well, I busted out some pretty nice hub work yesterday. And this morning I attacked the tips tester as well with two hands this morning, both resulting in PRs. I actually did 62 pounds on the Ironmind hub yesterday for a set of 5 with both hands, left and right, 5 reps.
Nice.
So, and that's the first time I've touched that thing since August, when I won the Anaheim Fit Expo hub event. So with a lift of 69. So the fact that I'm already starting with 62 for 5. And it was very easy. I'm nervous about doing too much too quickly, so I'm going to just slowly up. I wanted to just go after a maximum yesterday. After that, it felt so easy, but I'm going to try to use a little bit of experience and attempt to temper my enthusiasm, which is not easy.
Right. I've also just started playing with the Ironmind hub again, actually. I tell you, when I work with regular plates, they just chew my thumb skin up so bad. I just can't do it consistently. Whereas when I work the Ironmind hub, that kind of saves some of that. So that's going to kind of be the route that I'm going to be heading for the near future.
Well, you know what? The deal is, the plates obviously weren't meant to be like that. They're not meant to be gripped like that. I mean, they are, but they're not. Right. So they're not, made or milled with the intent of, okay, fingers are going to go here the whole time. So I think that's kind of why the fingers are getting chewed up there. That's, I'm sure, quite normal.
Right. Yep. It's the big thing for me. I could suffer through a little bit of skin tearing, but it's always such a setback. It's like you never know when it's coming, and then it does, and then bang, it kind of screws up either the rest of the workout or whatever I had planned for a few days later. So this will kind of be the safe play for the foreseeable future.
Well, and I will. Well, of course we will. That's critical. And I will also contend that it may not be as conducive for your lifting. Everyone lifts different amounts and different things, but the barrel strength, that aluminum hub of Gill's, I don't know if you have a dub hub, but that is very smooth. I have experienced 0 skin issues with his dub hub.
I do have one of those, and I only ever lifted on one time. It was King Kong of, I want to say 2016. Todd Conan brought his down, and I pulled on it. It actually got me on the leaderboards for about 15 seconds, and and that was it. I think I pulled on the shallow side, but that's actually a good point. I probably should break that out and play with it, because I hadn't done anything.
Depending on what your goals are, I mean, you might want to alternate. You might want to alternate, an Ironmind workout one time, the deep hub one time, and then the shallow hub one time. And again, I don't know what your goals are or what contests you have coming up or anything like that. But, I think that would be a very interesting, at least for me. As you know, I like to touch a lot of different implements. It keeps me from getting bored, because I get bored easy. So sure. I think that's one reason in powerlifting I didn't progress as much as I should have, because I'm really not that weak of a guy, but I just got bored with a lot of squat, bench, and deadlift. It just the monotony of it did get to me after a decade and a half. So
sure.
That's one of the things at Grip that's really I feel livens it up is I don't think I've been to a single grip contest so far that has had identical events. There's at least one different one.
Yep,
so,
I agree completely. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and I do have another exciting news, Alan, that we can get to as well. I'm going to be releasing today. I forgot. It's so exciting. I forgot to tell you. I'm going to be releasing today the events for the 2018 Philly Fit Expo.
Oh, nice. I'm anxious to hear about that, actually, and I want to hear more about this arm. We'll circle back, or perhaps another time. But I'd like to hear more about the Armlifting USA. Yep.
We've already got people signing up left and right. It's super exciting, and that may need to be a topic for a different show. But I do want to make sure everyone is aware, and I'm going to post it later on the grip board as well. But we're getting the exclusive feature first year on This Week in Grip. Our listeners are going to get to hear the events first. Nice.
I can't wait. What you got?
So you want me to review the LA Fit Expo first? You want me to go through it?
Yeah. Yep. Let's do that.
All right. Well, first of all, I have to say, my training was absolutely fantastic, and I took on the added challenge of cutting to the 100 kilo class. It's the first time Ode has offered a 100 kilo class at the LA Fit Expo, and I've slowly been reducing my body weight over the last few years, and I'm not sure if you saw, I just recently put a picture up there on Instagram of me at my very first grip contest in 2014 versus a picture of me weighing at this grip contest here. Did you happen to see that one yet on Instagram?
I did catch that, yes, and congratulations on that, on your weight loss. You look real good.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's been a lot of work, a lot of walking the dogs in the night, a lot of walking them early in the morning, no carbohydrates, and it's some sacrifice, I guess, or you could look at it as an investment in my longevity. But yeah, so I've lost approximately 60 pounds, and I'm stronger than I was before. So I also wanted the added challenge of competing against the two champions, Alexander Filimonov of Russia, who is an extremely talented young man, and then a person who needs no introduction, Eric Hussein from Canada, who's arguably the top 100-kilo guy that there is right now, especially on thick bar. I don't think there's much of an argument there. He's very, very strong. So, and extremely experienced. And I knew both of them would be lighter than me going into the contest. So if I had any chance of winning, I would have to beat them outright in the events because any tie is going to be on body weight. So, the last few days were a little dicey on the eating. I did not do too much eating, but I surprised myself and I weighed in at 218 pounds. So that was good because the cutoff is 220 and a half. So that was good. So we're starting off good, and I ate quite a bit after the weigh-in. I ate a lunch with Alexander, and then Eric joined us, and then we had lunch with him. And then I had dinner, a couple dinners too. I was pretty hungry. So
get plenty of carbs in?
Yes, I did. I actually did eat carbohydrates. Yes, I actually had a lobster macaroni and cheese. That was absolutely fantastic. That was
no
delicious.
Cookies, though.
No. You know what? I did have, for dessert that night, I did have a piece of cheesecake.
I'm a sucker for that, too.
Breathtaking. Yep. Oh, it was fantastic at the hotel. Yeah.
One piece, though. I don't know how you can do it. It'd be more like a cheesecake for me. I just cannot do it. I can't stop at one slice.
Well, that's to each his own, Alan. But again, I did eat some carbohydrates over the weekend, but whatever. So let's start with Rolling Thunder. So first event. So there's 4 events for those people unfamiliar with the contest. 4 events. Saturday we had Rolling Thunder, and then quite a weight, and then we had the axle deadlift, and then Sunday we had Silver Bullet, and we had the Saxon bar, 3-inch Saxon bar. So let's start with Saturday. So my goal, my lifetime PR is 93 kilos in a contest in Rolling Thunder. I was reasonably certain I'd hit 90 and have a good shot at like 92 and a half to 95 based on my prior training. And 85 comes up like nothing. first attempt. Oh, and by the way, it's 3 attempts. It was like powerlifting at this contest. We tried a new format. We are going to have some tweaks to the format, but we can cover that later. But for right now in this contest, the rules are very clear. It's 3 attempts like powerlifting with 3 judges, Alan, which I think was really good. We had 3 judges there judging, just like a powerlifting meet. And the other thing is it's on percentage-based scoring. Now, are you familiar with percentage-based scoring?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so for some of our listeners at home that might not have competed in a percentage-based scoring contest, let me just take a second and explain what it is. So, Alan, if you and I go head-to-head on Rolling Thunder and you pull 100 kilos and I pull 90, you would win the event with 100, and I would get second place with 90. Now, normally, if we do strongman scoring, which many grip contests are scored that way, you would get 1 point and I would get 2 points. However, with this percentage-based scoring, I would get 90% because I did 90% of the points. So you would get 100 points and I would get 90, which means percentage-based scoring rewards you for higher achievements, not just doing enough to win. And it gives you a bigger lead in the event if you can, muster up a big lead. So if you're clearly dominant in 1 or 2 events, you can really have an impact on the overall standing. It really makes for some fascinating strategies. So even with a lower number of competitors, because the one person is clearly dominant in an event, it can upset the apple cart, so to speak. Does that make sense? Do you think that's a fair explanation of the scoring?
Yep.
Yeah, and it really makes it exciting because I knew, obviously, Eric and I like to do strategy a lot, and we're really good buddies. So Eric and I roomed together for the contest, by the way. And we had a fantastic time. He's a great guy. So we were telling each other our attempts beforehand and stuff, and I already knew because I've competed against him 2 times now, and I already know how strong he is, that in Sick Bar he would be ahead of me by a little bit, but a Silver Bullet I would have a pretty good chance, and in the Saxon Bar we're pretty close. And I told him before the event on Friday night, I said, dude, it's going to come down to the last couple pulls of Saxon Bar for the whole contest. And he's like, well, we'll see. So, Rolling Thunder, 85, like I said, was easy. 90 was a little dicey. So I pulled 90, but apparently the judge was a new judge, was a little hesitant on the down signal, and then I put it down, and then he didn't like it. So I had to redo it. So I've never doubled 90 before, Alan, on Rolling Thunder, but I did here, and on the second lift I did make it successfully. So that was good. So 90, and then I tried 92 and a half. I got it about halfway up, but I was already fried from the doubling of 90. So I ended up with a decent score of 90 kilos. Alexander pulled 95, and Eric pulled a very strong 105. So I think we're all more or less happy with the scores. Obviously, this was Alexander's first contest, the first time ever in the United States, first time traveling to the U.S., and he originally was going to come to the U.S. for the Anaheim Fit Expo, but he got detained when traveling from St. Petersburg to Moscow because he didn't have the right visa paperwork to leave Russia. So that was a bummer for him.
When you say detained, you literally mean like detained, as in he was like arrested, as we use.
Not arrested, but he was pulled off the plane and told to turn around because his paperwork was not correct.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay.
Yeah, and so and he's a university student, and his university was paying for the trip, but then I think they made him pay for it because of the paperwork problem or something. It was a disaster. Let's put it that way. Eric and I had met him at the APL Worlds in May earlier, and he's a fine young man. But let me tell you something, and if you go on either YouTube and watch my video of the event, you'll see there's a picture of the 3 of us together with Bill Kazmaier. Speaking of Wisconsin, by the way, Alan, there you go. Kaz was in the house there at the contest. He is not very, I would say he's 5'10" or so, Alexander, but his hands are as big as Karl Mariskow's hands, who is 6'10".
Oh, wow. Amazing. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's got a good 8.5-inch hand, for sure. And only size 10 feet.
Well, he's a young guy, too, is he not? Is he
21.
Still in his teens? Oh, he's 21
21. 21.
Okay. He must have just turned then, because he made, and this was a subject that was going to come up later on, but he holds the teenage Rolling Thunder world records.
He does. He sure does.
Yep.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
he's 21 because I asked him, and his English is excellent. His English was quite good. So, however, he was a little hesitant, just being in the United States for a short time. So he spent a lot of time with Eric and me, and he didn't have. I don't think he came with a ton of money, so we bought him, several meals and stuff. Then once Alexei showed up, he did spend some time with Alexei Tukalov, but. We had a great time together. He'll be a friend for life. He's a great individual, and he's only going to get better. But yeah, it was surprising when I shook his hands. I was not expecting these monstrous baseball gloves from a shorter guy like that. Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. And I didn't remember that from Russia when we had met in May. But I didn't spend a lot of time with him because he was only there on the Saturday of the APL Worlds. And obviously he wasn't there for the whole contest. I don't know why, but he wasn't. Anyway, so then we had kind of a long wait at the Expo. There was some really great lifts by the women, some very, very strong things going on. And let me just preface it. Prior to that, we had Carl Myersko clamp down on the number 3.5 gripper and just absolutely crushed the handles on that thing.
I saw that, and I was going to ask, when did the world record stuff fit into the contest there? Because we saw a new women's Rolling Thunder record and a men's Rolling Thunder record.
Sure. So obviously I was there for all of it, and that's going to go into part of my problem later in the contest. But okay, so Carl's number 3 attempt, 1.5 attempt, he wanted to do that before the actual silver bullet contest. So he did that on the Sunday before the silver bullet contest. And it was the hardest part that was trying to fit in between him and Clay to video the thing. I mean, that's over 700 pounds of human right there. It was hard for me to wiggle my now skinny 100-kilo self in there to even get the video. I'll tell you, Alan, that was not easy. But because I didn't want to get in Carl's way, because obviously the key is that he certifies. The key is not that I take a video, right? The key is that he smashes the thing shut. And Clay obviously really wanted to get a good look because we don't want anyone saying, it's just your buddy there who closed the thing. I mean, there was no question. He hammered those handles.
So was Randall Straza not around for that day of the competition then?
No, he was there, but he was busy taking pictures. He doesn't do videos. He likes still pictures. So, and Randy doesn't want to judge either. So, and that's not a criticism of Randy. I know him extremely well, but he wants to be more impartial, So,
Sure.
So he'll have me or Clay judge. In this case, he had Clay judge, and I videoed.
So he was present at the.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. He and Francis Brebner were there running the Iron Mine booth the whole weekend.
I see. All right.
And the Iron Mine booth is set up right next to Ode's contest so that Strassen can just go back and forth, take pictures of the contest, and then man the booth and kind of be a little omnipresent, be everywhere, talk to some of the athletes, kind of do his thing, talk to the spectators, etc.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so that was on Sunday, but yeah, so after the Rolling Thunder itself, remember we're talking about women's Crush to Dust. So Randy did not bring anything for any Crush to Dust right now. And I did talk to him about the women's Crush to Dust, both on email and in person, and he's not ready to launch that yet. So I think what we're going to do, Ode and I are going to do an initial kind of Crush to Dust certification type thing as part of one of our arm lifting contests, possibly in Philly. We're going to be doing that one, and it might not be official with Strassen, but Arm Lifting USA will keep track of it at the very least. So,
what numbers did you guys settle on?
We didn't settle on anything yet, but after, okay, so let's back up the bus again. Why don't we cover that towards the end when we talk about Philly? Because I don't want to get too ADD and get distracted from too many things. But looking at the Rolling Thunder numbers from what people did, only a few people did 45 kilos or more. So I think 3 of the 6 women did 45 or more, and the other 2 did 47 and a half. So 45 kilos or 99 pounds, that's a strict standard. That is not easy. So,
Sure.
FYI. So, but neither is 90 kilos. I mean, some of the pro strongmen, a bunch of them, half of them, could not do 90 kilos on Rolling Thunder. So, on the exact same handle that we were using. But anyway, let's return. Let's return to this one. So, back to the contest. So then, okay, so Rolling Thunder ended. Then they were doing some strongmen events. And then Julia Williams, who, for those of people who don't want to, you never heard of her now, you're going to hear of her in 2018. I can promise you that. So she is one of Clay Edgin's grip students there at the Santa Cruz Strength. She's a very talented young woman. And she had come down, I think you're aware, Alan, she came down and trained with me one weekend over Christmas break. So, did you know that?
I did. I saw those videos. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm the one who introduced. Oh yeah, I'm the one who introduced her to what a Rolling Thunder pull-up was. She had never even heard of it before. I was like, yeah, let me show you this. You're good at pull-ups. Try this. And I'll elaborate on that on a little more later. But she proceeded to break the world record right there and do 9. Because Alexei Tukalov told Strawson that he would like to try to break the world record. So I had already known this. So I told Julia, hey, you know what, that's why the whole reason I showed it to her in my house, because I had an inkling that she'd be able to do a few. And sure enough, 9. I mean, and super strict. Did you see the video?
I did not catch that video, no.
All right, well, it's on the Iron Mind website. It's on her Instagram and the Iron Mind website. You can look. I was the referee for that one, and Clay was the videographer for that one. And it was just very strict 9 reps. She pulled up higher than she needed to on every single one. She dominated that thing.
Nice.
And, yeah, so then she did that. And unfortunately, she strained her left bicep a little bit in the process, and I think it's because she did too many too soon and didn't really she didn't really train for it very much. She's just that good at pull-ups. And so anyway, that affected her later in the contest. But then after that, we had the Rolling Thunder World Championships. And Ode asked me to referee, which I knew ahead of time. You know, I told him, of course. It was not like a surprise. So I take off my competitor shirt. I put on my referee shirt, literally, and I referee the World Championships. And all the strongmen had to start with 90, and the arm lifters also had to start over with 90. And the only way the arm lifters could get in the World Championships is if they made 90 or more during the arm lifting segment of the contest. And it turns out I had made 90, but I decided that I would just referee like I told Ode I would just referee and quote-unquote conserve energy. Well, that did not conserve energy because the refereeing was exhausting. And, you know, all I'm going to say is there's a lot of jockeying for position, Alan. The guys are, you know, alpha males that everyone wants to win this thing. There's money at stake. And so I had to do quite a bit as head referee of making sure that people's hands were not on the metal of part of the Rolling Thunder, right? That, you know, the side part. You know what I mean?
Yes, right, I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
So that was making sure. And another one was that we had to make sure that the offhand was not pushing off on the thigh. Because some of the strongmen really like that technique. They dig in with that offhand on the thigh, and that's another no-no. So that after we go through that, so it was stressful. Man, I was moving around there like, I don't know. I was all over the place looking around at the hands, and it was very stressful. And turns out that we had a 3-way tie for first place with 117.5 kilos, which is 259, between
Wow.
Alexei, Josh Thigpen, and Carl Myers-Cull. And on body weight, that was the tiebreaker, and those were our top 3, Alexei, Josh, and Carl. And that represents 7.5 kilo PRs for both Josh and Carl, and job well done. Very, very, very good. Because to be honest, I was expecting Alexei to pull a little bit more than that, and He didn't, and they rose to the occasion and equaled him. It was very impressive. It was very, very impressive.
Amazing.
So,
yeah, that's a solid number.
But I'll tell you, I was left a little bit drained after that. I did not recover before the axle. So then we go to axle. We had a limited warm-up. The women do axle. And then I probably should have taken some more warm-ups or lowered my opener. But did you see the video of my contest, Alan? Did you see it on
yes,
YouTube
yes.
yet or no? Yeah,
I caught
obviously. Go ahead.
No, I caught I watched your Rolling Thunder attempts, and I caught the axle, and I didn't catch the rest of it, like the Saxon bar or anything like that. I didn't see.
Yeah. Well, maybe later if you have time, you can watch that thing. But so on axle, obviously, I dropped every single one right at the top. I just wasn't sharp, and I'm sure it's because I was fatigued from judging. It was a lesson learned, but I told Oda I was going to judge, so I had to judge, and I had just nothing left in the tank. Meanwhile, the weekend before, I had tripled 160 strongly, and I felt like I could have probably done 5 reps. And so needless to say, I was disappointed. However, sports are a funny game, and Alexander dropped all his 3 at 170. So we were even. So he had a slight lead over me at the end of day one because he had 95 on Rolling Thunder and I had 90. So it was very close, and since we both zeroed in that one, I mean, I never want to wish any bad thing to my competitor, but neither one of us had a lot of energy by the time the axle came along. So, and obviously, as you could see, right, I mean, the bar flew up like it was nothing, and I just could not quite hold it at the top.
Yeah, no, it was right there. It was right there for sure.
Yeah, and on the last one, the last one I held it even longer, but longer wasn't enough, and it just whatever. Luckily, it didn't wind up costing me dearly, like it probably should have. I got lucky a little bit. So then after that, I judged the Axle for Cash championships, and like a glutton for punishment, and after judging the axle again, that ended up crazy numbers. And Josh Stigpen confided in me ahead of time. He had done 220 in training on the axle, 485.
Oh, wow.
But he said that's when he was fresh. He said, obviously, he's halfway through an Odenhaugen Strongman contest, and by now it's about 5 o'clock p.m. They've already done, 5, 6 events. It was, everyone's getting tired. So he goes, there's no way I'll do 200, 220 today. But Josh is actually thinking about entering some of our arm lifting only contests instead of the strongman portion as well. So he's actually talking about making a little bit of a transition and doing some more strict arm lifting because he realizes maybe with a little concentration he might be able to have a go at that axle record. So
yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, exactly. So so anyway, Alexi and Carl tied at 210. Martins did 205, and Josh did 200. So Martins, that was a PR for him. Martins Lisis, for those people who don't know, he got 4th in World's Strongest Man this year. And then Carl and Alexi decided on body weight again. So Carl has a phenomenal training cycle, and the fact that he was able to match Alexi lift for lift in competition, I felt like was extremely impressive. Because Alexi's the best, right? And Carl's literally right next to him. I mean, literally. So, but again, I was exhausted. The guys didn't want to have long lockouts. There was all kinds of drama, and so it just, the refereeing is pretty stressful. So, lesson learned for me, and I already let Ode know that I can't referee on the same days that I'm competing. It's just too much. So that was the end of day one. We got a nice dinner. Took a well-needed shower, Alan, by the end of the day, and and then I had a very good night's sleep. And then I forgot. In between later after Julia, Alexi did his Rolling Thunder pull-ups on Sunday. He did it after Silver Bullet. That's right. Never mind. So then we go to Silver Bullet Sunday. Carl smashes his gripper, just destroys the thing. And then, and again, that was a brand new out of the package gripper from Strassman. And then what happens next? Silver bullet time. So Eric goes first, and Eric tried the 3.5, was having trouble with the 3.5, and was running out of time because he only had a minute to get started, and he only got 5 seconds. He did not have a good set because he was feeling under the gun, and only got 5 seconds on the number 3. And Alexander went on the silver bullet and got 16 seconds. And then I knew right there, if I could do the 3.5, game over. I'm going to catch up a lot of points on Eric. But again, I had no oomph, Alan, nothing. So, and I took 59 seconds before I finally got latched on to the number 3. I downgraded myself after, and I've never missed an attempt with the number 3.5 in training. It just shows you how fatigued I was from the double refereeing the day before.
Sure.
Never. And I have the hardest number 3.5 that Canon has ever graded, and I've done it for 11 seconds. I was just mentally adrenal fatigue, I guess is the best term. I was just fried. So, but still, I hung on to win. I did 19.88 seconds with the number 3 to win that thing, and that brought me real close to Alexander. Now we both zeroed in the deadlift, Axel. He got second in Rolling Thunder, and I got third, and now I got first in Silver Bullet, and he got second. So we know the standings at this point are extremely tight, and it comes down to Saxon Bar. Before Saxon Bar, Alexi does his Rolling Thunder pull-up with 155.5 kilos. Did you see the video on that one?
I did, yeah. Ridiculous.
It looked like he had more. It was like a warm-up. Oh,
it did.
10
he had
kilos
more.
easily. Yeah,
Yep.
Easy. And as Strawson said, there was more in the tank. So,
yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was easy. So he definitely took that record away from Thomas Larson. So, unfortunately for Thomas, that's a thing of the past. And, yeah, so he did that, and then it came down to Saxon Bar. And I knew all I had to do was, if I could match Alexander's lifts, I'd probably get second place. So he opened with 81. I opened with 81. We made it. He went to 91. I went to 91. He struggled a little more than I did. And then it was to 96. He barely did it. I pulled it all the way up and dropped it right at the top. We wound up tying on that event as well with 91. And the 96 kilos, that would have been a PR if I had made it. But I didn't. But it was enough to... I beat him by 1 point in the overall. Eric did 96 and missed 106. I beat him by 1 point in the overall. Super close contest. And if I had made one of the deadlifts, I would have been within 3 points of Eric. So
sure.
And obviously, as you and anyone else can tell, the deadlift was right there. Any other day, I make that and more. That was not my day, obviously. And Eric would have had a different strategy as well. He would have maybe changed his attempts or done something different. So you can never say what happens in the contest. But all I know is I'm closing in on him. He's a class competitor, a true champion, a gentleman, and he set the bar very high. And I'm going to see what I can do to close the gap here in this next year. So,
sure.
Super fun
so
contest.
you intend to stay at your present weight? Is that the plan moving forward?
Well, yeah, I feel super healthy, right? So I feel my blood pressure is minuscule. It's way low. I feel great. I feel like I look pretty good. And, yeah. I won't get above 230. I was 219.8 this morning. It's just going to stay around here and do my thing.
Sure.
So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to see what and if any weight categories there are for my next couple contests. I do have those dialed in. So I have 3 contests coming up in the next 6 months. So I know exactly where I'm going and how I'm getting there. But it was a fantastic weekend. The women were definitely lifting on center stage with a bunch of really strong male lifters. Some of the women had fantastic performances. Some of the strong men were fantastic. And I felt like the 100-kilo class was very strong. I feel like it was we had a great class of competitors in our group. So, yeah,
nice.
Great contest.
It looked like it. Yeah, from the little bit that I caught, it looked like a lot of world records. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
And that 3.5 cert, that was nice. We hadn't seen one of those in quite some time.
2015 was the last one. I looked on the website. Yeah, so only 14 people have ever certified on the 3.5. So it's no joke.
Yep. Right. Hey, did you take a squeeze on that gripper?
Yeah, I did. Sure did. It was very stout. It was
nice.
a very stout gripper. Yeah. So it was not like a number 3 with an asterisk next to it. That was
yeah, right. Not like a 160.
Very legitimate. It was, of course, I took a squeeze on it, Alan. What do you think? I'm like a kid in a candy store. You already know the answer to that. You were.
I figured it had to.
Yes. Oh, yes. So it was quite a. It was a stout 3.5. Felt a little like it had a wide spread. Not ridiculous, but it was very strong, very good gripper, and no joke at all. No late Christmas present for Carl. That's for sure.
Sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
shall we move on to the top feats of 2017?
Let's hit them.
All right.
So I'm going to start with an honorable mention. Okay? So my honorable mention for 2017 is actually not from a contest. It's training, and it's actually Julia Williams, because I want to make sure I include at least one female on my list, doing the Rolling Thunder pull-up in my garage the first time without even hearing of it. So I kind of dared her into doing it, and I showed her what it was, and I was like, I'm sure you can do it. And then she proceeds to do it with some weight. And then she proceeds to do it with some more weight, to the point of where she's got 10 extra kilos on her, just doing one rep. And I made her stop there because the contest was only a week away. And I was like, you need to rest for the contest, dude. I don't want you to go too crazy here. But I could tell from that feat, from never touching the rolling, and she does not have big hands. I mean, her hands, I have 8-inch hands. Her hands are like a full, like when she put her hands up next to mine, they were like a full digit less than mine. Does it make sense?
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Not easy for her.
Does that make sense? So she has small hands. So
yes.
And she's probably 5'5", I would say, and she weighs 60 kilos. So for her to do it with those kind of hands, it shows the back and arm and squeezing power that she has, because there were no accident. And again, I invite you to watch the video on Iron Mind's website later. So that's my honorable mention as far as top 10 grip feats. Did you have an honorable mention, or do you just want to jump in with your number 10?
Yeah, I didn't have an honorable mention. So
all right, hit us with your 10, Alan.
Okay, well, my number 10 was going to go to Christiane Schmidt for her Rolling Thunder pull-up record of 8 reps. That's where I was going to start, even though it just got broken at the Fit Expo we just discussed. That was my number 10.
Okay.
And that broke her previous record of 7. So that was solid work. Good work for her.
Oh yeah, she's very strong looking. I mean, I don't know tons about her. I know I think Marco Buell is the one who put that up there, or maybe taught her how to do it or whatever. But yeah, she's a very strong gripster for sure. I showed Julia that video in my garage when we're doing it. I was like, oh, and here's what the record looks like. This is what the top chick can do. And she's like, oh, well, I'm going to beat that. So I said, not in here, you're not. And then, sure enough, a week later, she did it for real. So, cool. That's a perfect segue. All right, my number 10, Alan, involves our co-host who's absent today, and that would be Jet. So my grip feed of his for number 10 would be when he pinched the 245 in each hand. Now, a lot of people pinch 245s, and another ones that he pinched very wide, special York, deep ditch plates. I haven't touched those, probably couldn't myself. Extremely impressive. But the reason I put that for 10 is the emotion that he showed. I guess he had tried to do it so many times for so many years, and when he finally got that breakthrough, that was just unbelievable. So for me, that had to make my top 10.
Well, yes, and that was actually my number 2.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wow.
I had him way up on the list with that one. Yeah, just because that's not a feat that we see done. Well, I haven't. The only other time I think I'd seen that done was after he had done it, and that was with Chad Woodall. So it's not many people are running around hammering out that feat. So that's why it
No.
made it pretty high on my list.
Oh, it was excellent. I think one of the reasons it was so challenging is because, A, the plates are wide, and B, not a lot of people have access to the plates, right? So even the people who maybe can do it, they don't really have those things lying around. So I think because they're old and they're only in the United States, the European guys are never going to do that, right, unless they come over here. But
Right.
nonetheless, extremely impressive, and good for Jed that he made a lifelong goal there. That was inspiring to me.
Yes, no doubt.
All right, Alan, number 9, hit it. What do you have?
Becca Roberts, blockbuster pinch world record, 69.4 pounds. She's my number 9.
That's no joke of a weight there.
Well, that is definitely not a joke of a weight. I recently, after seeing you playing with your blockbuster pinch, and seeing the introduction of Armlifting USA and how that's going to be predominantly iron mine type stuff, I actually went ahead and bought one of those and started playing with it. And I cannot pull anywhere near what Becca Roberts is pulling. I pull more on the iron mine hub than I do on the blockbuster pinch. You know,
weird.
And I'm pulling over 60 on the hub, not a lot, but over 60 on the hub, and I'm not getting that on the blockbuster pinch. It's pathetic.
Over 60 is world class on the hub, Alan. That's a great hub lift. So let's not shortchange yourself, dude.
That blockbuster pinch is like it repels chalk. So people that are pulling those kind of numbers, that's ridiculous. I don't know how they're doing it.
Okay, so I'll tell you, it took a while, and the more you sweat on that thing, then the chalk started to hold a little bit better. So for me, I leave the thing chalked up, I sweat on it, and I put chalk on it in between each attempt. Not a ton, but a little bit in between each attempt. And over time, it started hanging on to the chalk. So, give it a use a couple times a week. And once you get some sweat and you start dripping some sweat on that thing, it'll start holding chalk a little bit better. That's my opinion on the blockbuster. And it was a tough nut for me to crack at first too, Alan. And my first meet, just to put it in perspective, I consider myself improving to the level of my gripping ability, somewhat high level at this point. I'm not bad at any event. And in my first meet, I could only do 58. So, since I've done 77 in the meet since, and I'm pretty sure I can do a considerable amount more now. But the reality is 59 is unbelievable by a woman. That is unbelievable lift.
Yes, that was a very solid lift. Yep. She's actually made my list a couple times here as we progress on.
Fantastic.
So
cool. All right. Let me hit you with my number 9. My number 9 is Ode Haugen. It wouldn't be a grip list without Ode on there, in my opinion. Of course, I'm going to be somewhat biased since I've known him for almost 15 years. But Ode's 110-kilo Saxon bar APL world record. Now, to put that in perspective, when we're there in May, you got to understand it's an 11-hour time difference. We're all exhausted. We're all lifting at the wrong times. Both days of the contest, there were 13-hour days inside the building of the contest. That's a lot of lifting, Alan. And for Ode, at that time, he was 68. No, he's 68. Yeah, because his birthday's next week. At 68 years old, to Saxon bar 110 kilos and beat all the young bucks was extremely impressive. Beat everyone that Russia had. It was a very, very impressive lift. And then, after this was even more impressive maybe, after the contest and an exhibition, he turned the Saxon bar over to the 4-inch side, the wide side, and he pulled 90 kilos.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
That's some solid, solid numbers there.
Yeah, so that was very, very impressive. The man has big hands, but he knows how to use them, and he spends a lot of time training, and that was my number 9. All right.
Nice.
Alan, let's hear it. Number 8, what do you got?
Number 8, I've got Gil Goodman's York shallow hub lift with 15 pounds added. This was the lift. This was from Brian Shaw's challenge. Gil was the only one that I saw that actually answered that with something similar. He actually didn't use the York. His was something very similar. His was like a standard or something like that. But it was nonetheless dimensionally the same. So feet-wise, I considered an equal.
Wow.
And he was the only one that I saw duplicate it.
Yeah, I really wanted to try it, but I didn't have access to that plate, and I realized that as different surfaces are different, I didn't even want to go there and just even attempt to compare unless I had the exact same plate. So,
Sure.
which I don't. So, but yeah, no, anyone who's lifting 60 pounds on a shallow hub, obviously that has my attention. I know a thing or two about shallow hubs, and that definitely gets your attention. It was a fantastic lift by Gil for sure.
Yes.
So, you're right, though. I did not see a lot of people, people were lifting 60 plates on different kind of plates, but not, I don't think the same thing. Again, maybe I missed one or whatever, but I think you're right. I don't think anyone equaled that one.
Right. Yep. Not that I saw anyway. Not that if somebody else pulled on it that I didn't see, let me know. I'd like to give credit where it's due. But
for sure. Yeah, but I was playing, because I like hub, I was paying pretty close attention to that one, and I didn't see it either. All right, ready? My number 8, it goes out to James Rederitis with his two 25-kilo plate pinches. So here's another guy. He's paid the dues on pinching plates. He's put a long time into the training process, and it was very exciting to see him rewarded with his plate pinching, with making that goal. It's a very short list of people who can pinch those plates. I think 5 or 6 people, maybe less. And I've never met him in person, but he seems like a great guy. I'd love to meet him. And that was quite an activity. So James gets my number 8.
yes, I have met James at the SJ4. He's a very nice guy, and I don't know what he's doing. Grip. I don't know what his training actually looks like. We see predominantly, just the feats out of him, but whatever he's doing, it's definitely working, because he is.
Well, there's a ton of arm curls. We see arm curls every day.
Well, yes,
the gun
that's
show.
funny you say that. Yes, I was thinking the same thing, but his pinches, it's just exploded. I mean, we're seeing big numbers going on these lifts every time. So whatever he's doing, he's right up there. And I know he just put out there that he's going to be working on the inch lift, and I think if whatever he's doing carries over, that's going to be. I think he'll get it this year, no question.
No, I think there's no question.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he, again, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a pit bull. When he sets his mind to something, it's not a if, it's a when. And I'm pretty sure he'll attack that thing. And obviously, like anything else, if he stays healthy, he'll crush the inch.
Yep, he's definitely got the gear for it, so to speak. The arm size and everything. So it's just a matter of time.
For sure. I agree. I 100% agreed, Alan. I'm on it. All right, you ready for them? You're number 7. What do you got?
I'm number 7. I'm going with Alexander Filomenov, Rolling Thunder Teenage World Record, 215.6 pounds.
Yeah, 98 kilos. Yeah.
Yep. Big number.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near that. And from a very young guy. So I tell you, you see these younger guys doing this. I mean, they stick with the training, and you got the older guys like I shouldn't say older guys, but I'm 41, so I won't mention anybody else being older, but I'll call myself old. And
you
this
call
guy
me
sticks
old.
with it for a long
43.
time.
Yeah.
He's going to be he sticks with it. He's going to be pulling some huge numbers. I mean,
no
even bigger than what he's already doing. So
there's no question.
A matter of time. Yep.
Yeah, this first international trip, just like mine was last year, it's an experience, and for anyone who's we have a lot of people who you pull big in the garage, but it's a different thing on a big stage, and I can guarantee you it's a different, having lived it, it's definitely a different thing when you're in another country, in another 10 hours, 12-hour time difference pulling. So the fact that he came across the Pacific and came to L.A. is just exciting. It was an exciting thing.
Yep, looking forward to seeing more from him.
Oh, you will. He's a good kid. You definitely will. I'm quite certain of it. All right, my number 7. This is not a feat per se, but it's a feat. And so mine goes to Jesse Pignonian for winning the Sawo Open this year. Now, for those people who are not familiar with that contest in Finland, it's a drug-tested contest by the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, the same group that tests the Olympics. And that was a 6-event contest this year in Ilsami, Finland, put on by Joni Mahanen. And that is a war. Those guys, those top Finns, along with Thomas Larsson, are killing each other in that contest to for local Scandinavian supremacy there. And for Jesse to win that as a somewhat newcomer to grip is extremely impressive, because those events were no joke. So for me, in terms of contest performance, that makes my number 7 right there.
Nice. Yep, that sounds like a good one. All right.
Yes.
Well, for my number 6, and this was a very recent one, Brian Shaw. I have to give it to Brian Shaw for the Gigantor Blob Lift.
You put that at 6, huh?
Yep. Did you have that on the list?
I had that at number 1, Alan.
You had that number 1.
So,
Okay. We went a different way. I've got a good number 1.
All right. Well, you keep it silent for right now, but tell us why you put it at 6.
Yep. Why did I put it at 6? Or
yeah. Why did you? Justify why did you place it there? Well, for what reason?
Well, it's hard to say, just because I had a lot of other ones that I thought were worthy of some recognition too, and I guess it's a huge feat, but I don't think it's unexpected of him. And I think if we saw more, if we see more of the larger guys out there get a hold of these, I think we'll start seeing those actually get lifted. That's why I put it there. But he was the first to do it. It's huge. It's going to be tough. But I think, we in the grip community, when the half 140 came out and it was named the Blob Father, that's kind of where everybody was headed, and nobody really jumped and kind of went more near the top. And as a matter of fact, I'm guessing that Brian Shaw probably got the 145 because he picked up some of those some of the paint flawed ones from York, and they were out of the 150s. If I had to guess, that's how I'd say he wound up with that one.
I would agree with you.
But yeah, so that's how it wound up on my number 6.
Yeah, so for me, one of the reasons I put for number 1, besides, and I think it's easy to handicap Brian Shaw and say, yeah, well, he's world's strongest man, or he's gigantic, or whatever, because all those things are true. But he has brought a ton of exposure to grip, and
absolutely.
Fact that he had to try for that one. That wasn't as easy as some of the other ones where he nonchalantly did it. He had to get fired up for that one.
Yeah, he didn't pick it up with a thumb on the round either, like we saw out of Blobzilla. So this was definitely not the easiest grip feat he's taken on.
No, for sure. No. He and of course he owned it, but he had to work for it, and it was extremely impressive. I mean, and it just breaks the mold of, obviously, and I'm not even a huge fan of blobs, but Jed, obviously, Jed's obviously blob magician, and some of these other guys, but I think he's exposed the whole idea to a much bigger audience. And for me, that's one of the reasons why it was my number 1 list.
Sure.
But I got some other good stuff. I got some other good stuff cooking here. All right. So that was your 6.
That was
my number 6. My number 6 is, as you know, I like hub lifting. So I would have to give it to Harry Talonen with the Iron Mind hub world record in the Finnish Nationals. Joni Lahtinen had just broken the record. The lift before, he says, throw on 1 more kilo, baby, and then he breaks the record. So that's pretty impressive, right? So your buddy just breaks the record in front of you at the national championships, and you're like, hey, hang on 1 second, bro. Let me up the ante right now. Enjoy your record while it stands. So for me, that's pretty savage right there.
Right.
Yeah, because the contest is all about how you perform under pressure. And, no one wants to hear that their world record just got broken, right? And then to see it happen right in front of you and then respond and take it right back, I'm all over that. I love that. So for me, that's my number 6.
Okay, nice. Well, Harry Talonen actually made my number 5 for his blockbuster record.
Well, there you go. You knew love for the blockbuster, Alan. There it is.
Yep. So he had 107 pounds on that sucker. So that's huge. So he's doubling what I'm doing. That's a solid.
Yeah, but remember, it's not where you start; it's where you finish. But yeah, they spent a lot of time on Blockbuster. It's a popular event over there. Maybe not as popular as Hub, but they really like Blockbuster over there. So the man is a pinching fiend. There's no question. Any more commenting on that one?
No. Nope.
All right, so my number 5, this may throw you for a loop, maybe not. It's not an exact feat, but the feat of winning, mine would have to go to Alexei Tukulov for winning King Kong. And the reason I put it number 5 is, I mean, we didn't even know he was doing the contest. We didn't know he was going to be there. And then he shows up and wins the thing. So impressive for Alexei, showing that he doesn't just use iron mine implements. He uses all kinds of implements, and he's very good at anything he gets a grip on. So for me, Alexei winning the King Kong is my number 5.
Okay, nice. That's legit. I was looking at some of his stuff too, and it was just, well, in the top 10 list. If we'd have had more, I'd have found a spot for his name, but we were kind of limited. So
right,
but
right.
Yep. Nope. Congratulations.
Well, I didn't want to repeat it. I wanted to look at 10 different people. That was my.
Sure. Yep. No, I wound up having a little bit of repetition, but not a lot. So we'll just
that's fine.
One as I look here. So my number 4, that goes to Brian Hunsaker, his Denny Stone world record lift, 33.9 second hold.
Yep, Alan, you're like a mind. It's like a mind meld. So that was my number 2. So
nice.
Yeah, there was Brian's a gigantic human being, a super nice, genuine person, and possibly the best grip endurance on the planet.
Yes,
and,
that was insane.
He's doing really well in that fat grips holding right now. Obviously, the Denny Stone thing, he focused on that, trained for it probably more specifically than anyone else, and then blew the thing out of the water. So, yep. He's a gigantic guy with huge goals. I'm sure he's very focused and driven. I'm sure he's going to be extremely successful in the future. And I know he's planning on trying to take those rocks for a little stroll himself. So we'll see. Yep. We'll see how that turns out in 2018. But that was my number 2.
Nice. Okay. All right.
All right. So we're on to my number 4. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So my number 4, we're going to throw this one all the way out to one of my other Team USA teammates, and that would go to Clay Edgin for his 2-hand tips tester world record, the very first time he ever does it with 2 hands.
Nice. Yeah.
382 pounds, the very first time he does it. Are you joking? That's disgusting. It should be illegal. He should be banned.
Right. Yep.
I mean, the man is a mammoth human being. I mean, if you look at the video of mine, you can see we took some pictures together, and you can see, he's much bigger than I am, and his hands are not super huge. They're about the same size as mine, but the power he has inside his hands and wrists is literally legendary. He's a monster. And,
had he stepped away from grip for some time?
Oh yeah. So he took a break, and he wound up buying he started as a personal trainer at the Santa Cruz Strength Gym, and then wound up buying the thing, changing the whole business plan around, and now it's just got so many clients, and he hosted a powerlifting meet yesterday. In fact, he's going to be hosting, I don't have all the details yet, but he's going to be hosting one of our Armlifting USA competitions coming up soon in February. So, which I will be competing in. Oh, he's staying very busy. But, last year, we kind of got him going at the LA Fit Expo. And, I think we just kind of peer pressured him into doing the number 4 gripper silver bullet right there, and he wound up setting the world record without even training very much. And, right. And this year now, obviously he went to Russia. He had a very nice performance. 3 of his 4 events this weekend at the Fit Expo were PRs. He's got all these people he's training now, participating. He's definitely in renaissance mode as far as, getting back to where he was or exceeding in some of the places. He's let's put it this way. He's going to be a large factor in any grip contest he enters from now on. Let's put it that way. Large factor.
Right. Nice. Glad to see him back at it. So he, remember he was, when I first picked up some grippers, as a matter of fact, the first grippers I ever bought, they were the heavy grips, and he was on their website, and I was looking at some of some of his pictures of stuff he was doing on there. And so he was kind of my, between him and Jed, they were my sort of introduction into grip. So I do think highly of both of those guys. So just seeing what they had done early on from the get-go. So, and that was a long time ago. That was a much younger version of Clay Edge in some of those pictures I was looking at.
So I'm sure
he's changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah, but what hasn't changed is his domination of any implement that he sets his mind on. I mean, when he latches on to something and he decides, all right, it's time to raise this thing, it's going to get ugly. So his latest thing he's become fond of is the Napalm's Nightmare. So after I introduced it to him and the crew down there when I went to Santa Cruz in December. So clearly Santa Claus brought him one. So now and that's going to be one of the events in his contest in February. So one thing would be fun is if we have Clay on the show. To be honest, I would like to invite him on at some point, and we can hear from the big fella himself.
Yeah, yep. That's one thing I'd actually like is more guests on the show. I think that would be pretty nice, actually.
Absolutely.
Kind of a steady diet of that. Oh.
Sure. All right, we're up to your 3.
All right, so my number 3, this goes back to Becca Roberts again. She had a number 3 deep set close that we saw posted on, I believe it was in the Grip Strength group on Facebook. Deep set, but nonetheless, I don't know that I've seen any other woman shot a 3 before.
Well, I can definitely tell you I've never seen that. I don't even think I saw that video. I may not have been part of that Facebook thing as much right there at that time. I've never seen that video, but I can tell you I've never seen that. That's unbelievable.
Yes, it was solid, and she's a force to be reckoned with. That's for sure. I think she's going to be, if she applies herself, especially specifically to grip. I think it looks to me like she's just doing some of this stuff as almost an afterthought at this point. And if she really put her efforts into it, she'd just explode.
Yeah, I think her preference is a strong woman. I don't know much about her, but it seems like if that's the preference, then the grip is a complement to that as opposed to the other way around.
Yes, that's exactly the case. Yep, that's how it seems to me too. Yep.
Yeah, but again, I don't know much about her. But yeah, that blows me away, Alan. I've never seen that footage, but that is not a sentence that we normally say. Woman and number 3 gripper. That's pretty crazy.
Right. Right. Yep.
My number 3. At some point, he had to make it. Young Tanner Merkel, 2.5-inch crusher video from King Kong at Brian's place in Utah. The guy explodes the device. I mean, just who knows? It's like the Loch Ness Monster. We'll never know what he would have put up that day. But, I mean, he told me on Instagram that he thought he could do 240 that day based on how the 224 or whatever he did felt. I mean, that lift was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, the kid has got some gifts. And, I mean, let's not mince words. The guy's got huge hands at a very light body weight, and he's an elite rock climber / with like a gymnast type deal, right? So you put all those combinations together, and it's going to be ugly for regular people like me. So this guy here, though, is he's cut from a different cloth, and he's very good at thick bar. And I guess yesterday at the Southern Squeeze, I heard he closed a 182-pound gripper. Wow! He lifted 220. I think it's a 223 on the trilobite, and not a full lift, but to whatever the legal inches is for the trilobite lift. On the 2.5-inch trilobite, 223, which is super good because that thing is super spinny. So
nice. So the aluminum held up better than the steel handle. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about the aluminum is the way that pin is set. It's a different kind of it's just a different kind of setup. There's no way that the trilobite handle could break unless the pin isn't put all the way in, or unless the pin is faulty, or unless there's like a weak part in the drilling of where the pin goes. Otherwise, that thing can't break the way it's set up. Obviously, the way the crusher is, whatever holds the whole thing together failed on Tanner's lift for whatever reason. And
I would actually like to know a little bit more about that, about what specifically broke, because as it looked to me in the video, the Crusher, they utilize a couple of smaller spacers to keep the handle itself from hitting up against the V-shaped part that the pin locks to.
Yes.
And it looked to me like it's one of those spacers that failed, and that would have allowed the handle to slide and bind against the V piece. So that's how it looked to me. Like it was just the failure of one of those smaller pieces of metal. Nonetheless, I mean, it broke, but
it could have been a failure of maybe there was a crack in where that V part kind of comes down, and if that cracked at all, and I could be wrong, if that cranked at all, that could cause the thing to shift as well, if there was some weakness in part of that thing. And I could see that happening if the handle's dropped and it hits awkwardly against the loading pin, that part of the handle could be could be compromised. Yeah, so it's possible that was at play as well. Hard to say without being there, and I was supposed to be there, and I wasn't, but hard to say.
Yep. Well, I hadn't heard any results from that, but I guess we'll get to that. We'll get to that at some point. So from that conversation.
Yeah, and then you've already kind of spoiled my surprises for my number 2 and 1, but I had Brian with the Dinny Stones at 2, and Brian Shaw with the Blob at number 1. But let's hear yours, Alan.
All right,
get a home
Jed
run
Johnson,
here. N 2017. What do you got?
Jed had my number 2 at the double old school York 45.
Ah, that's right.
And my number 1 goes to the first guy ever to shut the Mash Monster 8, and that's Morgan Choi.
You know what? I should have found a way to include that in there at some point too. That was a ridiculously controlled display of hand strength, that gripper close.
Yep.
I did not include that one, and I should have. That was very impressive.
Yep. And I chose that for number 1 just because we've seen some attempts from some strong guys, and they haven't done it. And, you look, Morgan Choi, solid set, boom, just flattens it. And I don't think it's something we're going to see again anytime soon. So that's how he got my vote.
Now, what is the rating on that gripper for those people who don't know, Alan? What is that thing looking at?
I thought the general consensus was in the 204-pound-ish range. I thought that's what people were kind of thinking on that. I think that's what Tim Struess has indicated. And I don't know if Vano Saakashvili took a guess at it when he took a crack at it. But and I don't know if Morgan even ventured a guess actually as to what he thought it was. But I remember I thought that's what Tim Struess thought, was that it was in that range. And if for anybody listening out there, I'm sure the guys like Gil Goodman and Ches and those people, they probably have a bit of a grasp on that, if they could maybe set me straight if that isn't right. But that was my impression anyway.
Well, whatever he did, the guy took hold of the gripper. He made it very clear that it was his gripper, and he absolutely mashed that thing. So
yes. Yep.
Good call, Alan. Again, it was pure control. There was no, and his filming angles, he's got that dialed in too. There's no hesitation. There's no did it make it or not? I mean, it's a controlled science for him on the filming. So it was that was an amazing activity. Good call on that one, Alan. I like it.
And he's another young guy, Morgan Choi. So I think if there's sky's the limit with that guy too. I don't know why we won't see a 3.5 cert out of him in the future. I think he was right on the edge of that before. And some other big lifts if he decides, he in one day it was well, I can't even remember the name right now off the top of my head, so I won't mention it. But he started the number 3 one day, and he attempted the 3.5 in the same day, and just couldn't quite get it. But then after the failed attempt at the 3.5 cert, he just went ahead and picked up the inch dumbbell that his ref brought along with him. The guy that his name's Tommy Jennings. That's the guy.
Oh wow!
From the grip board. Yep. He was the ref for that, and so that's the level of strength we're dealing with Morgan Choi there. And he's only getting stronger.
Wow, that's impressive. That I didn't know that. That's some impressive stuff. So, well, Alan, we've been on for a little over an hour here, hour and 15 minutes. I think that's what I got for today. I'm very excited to see what happens here in 2018. I'm fired up. Why don't we just run through the Philly events real quick?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I got a couple minutes. Hold on, let me get that on my phone now. Is any chance you're going to go to Philly? End of April. Any chance for that?
You know,
no?
I'm tentatively going to say no, but you know, anything's possible. But I tentatively no, I guess, for now.
Well, I'm hoping to lock horns with our co-host there for the first time. If Jake can clear the calendar, at the very least meet him. But it would be great if he was going to compete in the contest. That would be super fun.
Yeah, he's fun to meet in person. That's for sure. Yeah. For you to compete head to head with him, that'll be something. I wouldn't.
Right now, I think right now there's going to be. So the goal is to have the weight classes that are on the Armlifting USA website, which are for the women above and below 75 kilos. So those would be 2 weight classes for women, and for men. And obviously, if we have a small amount of entries, we'll have to combine the classes, right? And then for men, we'll have below 90, below 110, and then 110 and above. So those would be the classes. So there's going to be 3 grip events on Saturday and then 3 on Sunday. So there's going to be no strongman at the Philly Fit Expo. So it's just going to be Moz Wrestling and the arm lifting. So there will be a lot of opportunity for people to test their grip in Philly. So
sure.
You ready, Alan, for ready for the deal? All right, so we're going to start with Rolling Thunder on Saturday. We're then going to do Axle, and then we're going to do Silver Bullet. That's what Saturday looks like. Rolling Thunder, Apollon's Axle, and then Silver Bullet. And we're going to use a different format than last contest, because we didn't want to – there were a few people who bombed out with the powerlifting style. So what we're going to do is a compromise. We're going to do rising bar with 4 attempts.
Oh,
so
nice.
Kind of like last man standing, but we're going to limit it to 4 attempts. So this way, no one bombs out, because you just take a warm-up as one of your rising bar attempts. There's no bombing out at this point.
I like this idea. Yep, okay.
Yeah. Well, we want athletes to come back, and we didn't like the bombing out, and it makes it for a less exciting contest. And, you know, Owen and I are ready, and Clay, we're ready to make the organization evolve and make it better, and really want a participation experience for the group where they want to come back. They can't wait to do the next one. That's kind of our goal. So with Rolling Thunder and Axle, it's rising bar 4 attempts. Silver Bullet will be obviously 1 shot at Silver Bullet. We don't get to do multiple shots. And we're going to have an Iron Mind Crush to Dust on Sunday morning. And then Sunday, you ready for these? You'll like these attempts. You like these events, Alan. We might be able to tempt you.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Sunday, Iron Mind Hub.
Okay, now we're talking.
Second event, this is when you make the U-turn, Alan. It's the pinch block.
Here we go.
And then third event, this is going to be the first time we've used it in a Fit Expo competition. We're going to use the Country Crush 2-inch double-handle deadlift.
Nice. Okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with what that looks like. Do you know that implement, Alan?
I do know the implement. I've never put my hands on one, though.
Yeah, so I did originally have the record at one point, and then Tim Butler broke it. So I'm hoping that goofball, he only lives in Jersey, maybe he can come over and get involved in this activity here, and we can go head-to-head. But, yeah, that's I hope he's not injured, because he has gotten injured on and off quite a bit this year. That's the final event. So
nice.
So 6 events, 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday. Who is the strongest in Philly? We will find out on April 29th.
Nice,
So,
nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that event selection. Yep.
yeah,
Good
so it's going to
variety
mix
there.
it up a little bit. We got some new stuff going now. Now we'll throw the Country Crush handle in there, and we'll see how people respond to that thing.
Right, right. Yeah, cool, cool. That that's
And then
one thing.
the hub and the block. Sorry, Alan. Let me just clarify. The hub, the block, and the Country Crush will be rising bar with 4 attempts as well.
Sure, sure. Nice. Okay. I'm just making some notes here. That's the one thing I really like about the layout you guys have done with the Armlifting USA is that you have some staple events. And it gives something people can kind of train for consistently, like what you see in powerlifting.
Yep.
A statement you made right away in our conversation today was about lots of different grip events out there, and every competition has something different, and this kind of gives people an opportunity to sort of maybe focus on certain things, and just kind of it gives them something they could almost go to those different expos and just be ready, just kind of train specific things if they're interested and work at it that way rather than kind of always bouncing around in their training. So I really liked the concept that you guys had there. A couple of few staples and then some variables. So it's pretty nice.
It's almost like you were with us in Russia when we kind of came up with this idea about trying to just make it a little bit different. And if you've been on the website, I just updated the leaderboards yesterday. So we have men's and women's leaderboards for Rolling Thunder and Axle. So they're up there, and they're updated. Of all the Fit Expos from 2011 to 2018, all those results are included and compiled by yours truly. So if you haven't taken a look at those leaderboards, Alan, to get on there and take a look, and you'll see that there's a lot of people can make lifts on there. They just got to show up to the competition and get it done. And that's what we're hoping for, some increased participation. So we want it to be busy. We want a lot of people vying for the titles. We want people to be competing. We want to give people chances to show what they got.
Yep.
So,
no, I like it. I think you guys have really filled something we needed, and it took something that should have been really simple and it kept it simple. It's kind of my thought on it, I guess. So I'm really excited about it.
Good. And any promoter can do the put one of these things on. They can get a hold of me on my emails on the website. I'm very accessible. Just get a hold of me, and I'd be happy to talk them through it. But at the minimum, all you need is Rolling Thunder, Silver Bullet, or Axle, 2 of the 3. And, Iron Mind has graciously, Alan, they're going to ship people equipment if they don't have it to run a meet at Iron Mind's expense.
Yep, I saw that. Yep. That's a very stand-up thing to do. Yep, I like that. That's a good way to advance.
Randy's commitment to running and extending the sport and getting more people involved. He'll ship it at no charge to the promoter. You want it? Yep. You want Rolling Thunder and Silver Bullet? He'll ship you a package. A Rolling Thunder, a carabiner, the plate, the bullet, the whole deal. He'll send it to you. And then if you want to buy it after the meet, if you guys had fun and want to buy it after the meet, he'll sell it to you at a discount. If you want, then it gets shipped back. And I don't, to be honest, I don't remember if he's shipping it back or the meet promoter has to ship it back. But still, at the very least, it doesn't get easier than that. There's no excuses now. You want to run a meet? It's easy. The mailman brings you the box. Yep.
No, that's I thought the same thing. That's a great idea. Real stand-up thing to do. Yep.
Yeah, because he wants to see it grow too. When we went to the APL Worlds, all of us, me, Ode, Clay, and Randy, and there was 150 people competing. Alan, that was crazy. That was awesome. And we have so many people that do CrossFit and powerlifting and everything else here, and they would love this arm lifting, but they got to give it a shot. They would love it. The challenge of some of these events, like you've latched onto the hub, and now you're challenging yourself with the block. A lot of people deadlift. Millions of people deadlift in gyms every week, but have they ever tried deadlift on a thick bar with no knurling? I mean,
yeah, right.
It's humbling. But there are some people who would absolutely dedicate themselves to that if they knew about it, and that's what we're trying to do: is get people involved, give them a healthy outlet, give them something to do.
No, you're on the right track. No doubt about it. I really like it. I like it already. I think you're going to have a good turnout with all of this. So,
well, I hope we can get some people excited. I'm going to put it up on the grip board today, and we're going to really try to get people showing up, and other people have contacted me about running some meets. And so we're just waiting for some finalized things to come through, and I think we're going to have a series of Armlifting USA meets here in the next few months, all over the country, not just in California.
Sure. Yep. Awesome. Real exciting.
Yeah. Well, Alan, that's it for me. I'm glad I didn't forget to do the Philly intro. Hey, I had a great time discussing the Feats with you today, and also telling you about my experiences at the Expo. And I think it's not a surprise that you and I were, although the order was different, you and I were on the same page on several of those feats. I mean, there was some impressive stuff that went down in the grip world this year.
Yes, there was. So, yep. This was a good conversation. I'd like to hear what other people have to say about this as well. So,
Me too.
All right. But before I officially wrap up here, I just want to do a quick shout out to Jerome Bloom. Say welcome back. Looks like in his time away, he hasn't slipped much. So I don't know if you've caught any of his recent feats, but he's back killing it like always. You know.
Oh yeah, he's a strong little guy, man. I think I can't remember what he said his hands were, but like I think below 7 inches. Like when he locks those mitts onto something, man. He gets in pit bull mode. That thing is coming up.
Oh, he does.
And he does it in the snow. There's like snow in his garage or whatever. I don't even know what he's doing, but he gets after it.
Yep. I love watching him. I'm glad to see him back at it, and that he hasn't, that his fears weren't realized on some of that. I think he thought he was going to come back and be starting all over from square one. It looks to me like he's easily in the 90% range on what he was doing. So welcome back, Jerome, and keep hitting it. I love watching your videos.
I love it too. Yeah, I don't know how all of his PRs memorized, but I mean, on the things he likes to do, he's very good at those. Very good.
Okay. Well, all right. That wraps up episode 39 of This Week in Grip. Everybody, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. I'd like to hear what your thoughts of where the 2017 feats were. And we'll see you hopefully next week with some more. Good talking to you, Riccardo. We'll talk to you later.
The pleasure was mine, Alan. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a great day. Bye.